Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa man wala. Today, inshallah ta'ala, I'm hoping to go all the way up to page. We finished on page 152, 153 last week. And I want to go all the way to page 166 today. We'll be skipping quite a few pages because those pages are pertaining to ladies, girls. I'll be looking at the topic of maturity from the point of men and boys only, inshallah ta'ala. Okay? What are some of the things around maturity that we learned last week? Who can tell me? Isa?
You reach maturity when you start having wet dreams.
Uh-huh. Or, is that the only way?
No.
Or when a man has relationship with a woman, right? Man and woman, relationship. Okay? I know it's, it may sound funny and giggly stuff, but these are stuff that we need to learn. We are men now. We are young men. We are adults now. Okay? And this is very much part of looking after ourselves. And also, why is maturity important? Siraj? You become accountable. Now, okay, what's the definition of men or man compared to, Siraj, are you able to grab a marker from men versus youth? Men versus youth. Ibrahim?
One has reached the age where everything is compulsory and youth may not be compulsory.
Okay, so one has not reached the age when everything becomes compulsory. What do you mean by everything?
So like praying, for example, might be compulsory.
Okay, so he is not legally, the word that we use is legally he is not responsible. Okay? And then you use the word age. Okay? Thank you very much, sir. Then you use the word age. But the concept of age is very Western term. Right? You cannot get married until you are?
18.
18 now?
Yes,
Oh,
18 now.
okay. 18. Very soon we will be 19. Okay, 18. But maturity for us, and that's when they say that you're mature, when you're 18. But maturity for us is not at 18. It could be at the age of
12.
9 for girls, 12. And automatically, once you have reached the age of 15, even if you don't have wet dream, you're still classed as mature, which means things that you'd be punished for because of leaving, now that rule falls on you, such as missing salah. You're going to be accountable. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to take you into account. So all of this start happening when somebody reaches maturity, right? That could happen the earliest for girls, age of 9. For boys, age of 15, not after 15. But it could be before that as well, right? Boys generally mature 2 to 3 years later than girls. Abu Bakr, did you have something to do?
Yeah, what page was it?
We are on page 152. Were you here last week? Were you here last week for fifth class?
No.
Okay, we finished page 152, 153. What's the Arabic term for maturity? Not maturity, rather, when that point in life, when you become Islamically responsible.
Is it better?
La, taklif. It's called taklif. Baligh is when you're mature. Baligh is, let's say Isa is baligh because he's 70. What does that mean? I mean to say he's mature. Not maturity, mature. Okay? Right. Okay? Very good. So now what else have we learned? Is there anything else that you'd like to add? No? Okay. But before maturity, we looked at also impurities, right? Certain impurities such as urine splashes, you need to be very cautious that when you're urinating, even if it's in your toilet, in your house, that the manner you're doing it is that you sit. It's very disliked when you stand and do it, unless there's a need for you to do it, okay? That you urinate in a manner that no splashing takes place. As we mentioned last week, Prophet ﷺ was going past a grave, and he has certain knowledge of the unseen, and he sensed that one of the inhabitants of the grave was being punished. And the reason why he was punished was because he used to urinate in a manner that splashes would land on his clothes. That was the cause for his punishment, right? That's something, of course, if a child is little and they're doing that, that's okay, they're a child. As you're growing up, you need to be mindful of it. And the moment you hit maturity and now you're not being mindful, it's going to be a punishable act. Yeah? So you've got to be very careful. Okay, now the moment you become mature, you need to be extra cautious about cleanliness and purification. Cleanliness and purification. Because suddenly now your body is going through some changes. And that's not just for men, that's also for ladies as well, women as well, our sisters as well, okay? For men, okay, we grow hair, body hair. That could be armpit, that could be around the private parts, that could be your hair growing extra longer, your beard's going to come on, your mustache is going to come on, your voice is going to deepen, you're going to suddenly shoot up, you're tall and muscly, okay? But also you're going to smell. Yeah? There's something that would never... You know how when you hold a baby and you say, oh, it smells like a baby. Yeah? You're not going to smell like a baby anymore. You're going to smell like a man. And some people, mashallah, they're very, very blessed with smell. Yeah, wherever they go, people can tell, yeah, gosh, that smells. You have to be mindful about it, and you have to do something about it. Either wash or shower regularly, or especially if you're going out in public, then, apply deodorant. Make sure you trim yourself regularly, because one of the things that give rise to perspiration or sweat is when you have long body hair, right? In your body parts, not your hair or your beard, but your armpit and all the other places. Okay? So, and also clothes. Make sure you don't wear the same jubba to masjid for 2 weeks. There was a student I was teaching at Neely Mosque. As soon as he walked in, I felt like that's it, I want to commit suicide. And then I had to have a word with another teacher about him, because I was the new teacher there, I didn't want to put him off. And he spoke to him, and then the smell reduced a little bit. It did not reduce full. And then they found out that my man never really changes his thobe, wears the same thobe. And just to make matters even more intense, he used to always wear something underneath or on top. So he's always sweaty and, right, got to be mindful of it. People are going to absolutely hate you. There was a teacher who used to be a hafiz, proper hafiz, proper. You tell him to read from any part of the Quran, he could do that. But when that man used to come next to me, oh my gosh, he used to put me off. So that's why I used to always phone him and speak to him, not go next to him. Yeah, so you've got to be mindful about those things. And to make sure that you maintain your purification, cleanliness, Sharia, Islamic law obligates, right, that you trim yourself, make yourself clean, clip your nails, clip your hair at least once every 40 days, right? And make it a habit of clipping your nails, trimming your mustache or your beard on Fridays, because Prophet ﷺ used to do that. If not your hair, of course, why do you want to clip your hair every week, trim your hair every week? But perhaps if it's on once a month, once every 2 months, see if you can do it on a Friday. And Friday means what? Thursday night, isn't it? Because Islamically, our day starts Maghrib. Okay? Right. Now, what did we say? That indicates that somebody is a mature man. Wet dream, i.e. something coming out from semen coming out from male private part. Okay, and that's wet dream. And what happens when you wake up and when you see, you sense that you have had a wet dream, you'd find wet patches on your clothes. What do? You don't just sit around. You get up, go to the toilet, get changed, wash yourself. First thing. And know that ghusl has become fard on you, okay? Even if you cannot do ghusl at that time, that's not a problem. Perhaps because you're shy, first thing in the morning, take a shower because people will sense that what's happened here, right? Okay? But know that ghusl has become fard. What does that also mean? Acts of worship you cannot carry out until you have taken a fard ghusl. Not sunnah ghusl, but fard ghusl. Okay, what's an example of a sunnah ghusl? When could you take sunnah ghusl?
Friday.
Fridays, right? Or any other time, just ghusl is, just to make yourself clean, keep yourself clean. So ghusl is obligatory when you have wet dream or when you have semen leaving your private part. Is that clear? When that happens, you cannot do any ritual acts of worship without taking a fard ghusl. That's very important to know. Okay, now page 154. Page 154 can be a bit confusing, so I'm going to simplify it. But you have to pay attention. Okay? Okay. When a... You guys okay? All right. When any liquid leaves the male private part, it can be one of three things. Okay? I'm not calling them anything yet, because calling them something will confuse you. Okay? Right. During relation, what do I mean by relation? Man and woman relation, or the same liquid that comes out when wet dream takes place. Okay? Liquid that comes before, prior, or liquid that comes out after. Is that clear? So where did we start from? We started from? During a relationship between a man and a woman, the liquid that comes out, or that same liquid that comes out when somebody has wet dream, that necessitates ghusl. Ghusl becomes fard. Is that clear? Okay. For the other two, cleaning yourself becomes fard, not ghusl. Is that clear? Okay. The liquid that comes out, that's called semen, right? When semen leaves the body during man and woman relationship, or the same semen that comes out when a young man has wet dream. Actually, you know what? It doesn't have to be a young man. It can be a adult grown man as well. If they have not had relationship with their wife for a long period of time, the body produces the liquid. Do you understand? But then the container becomes full and it needs to offload the excess. So you will have a wet dream. Okay? You don't have to be young. You can be old and you can still have wet dream. That liquid that exits the private part necessitates ghusl. When that happens, you must do ghusl. That's it. There's no way out. There's no other way for you to gain ritual purification. Okay. As a man is about to have relationship with the wife, as they're getting aroused, you have learned these things in biology. I'm not saying anything explicitly, right? It may lead to exit of certain liquid from the private part. Once the relationship is over, some other liquid may come out. Those two don't necessitate ghusl. Does that make sense? But you have to still clean yourself. You are in a state of impurity, okay? But not the kind of impurity that requires ghusl. You just go to the toilet, wash yourself, clean yourself, that's it. You want to read Quran? Do wudu. You want to read Salah? Do wudu. Same. You have not had any relationship. But for some reason, some liquid, any liquid that leaves the private part, any liquid, it could be blood. Could be blood. Anything that leaves the private, it could be a worm. Yeah, people have bowel problem and because they have tapeworm and stuff inside, we talked about it once. Right? When that happens, then you need to clean yourself, clean, and if you want to do wudu at that moment, you can do wudu. Or you want to sit around, no problem. But you must obviously do wudu if you want to read Quran or something. Is that clear? So when is ghusl becoming fard? Only in one instance. When? Male and women relationship as well as wet dream. Is that clear? Before you ask question, is that clear?
Yeah.
Abdullah? Abu Bakr? Isa? Okay, cool. Now, this here, number 2, is called what? Mani. Okay, that's the semen. See, that's why I'm saying the names could be confusing, but as long as you know the during, before and after. Okay? Before is Madi or Madi, rather. And after is Wadi. Okay? Wadi, Madi. And in between is Mani. Okay? Right. Now, very, very curious thing. All of this liquid, according to all other madhab, is pure or impure?
Impure.
Impure. Except in Shafi madhab. Shafi madhab, the actual semen is not considered impure. If it gets onto your clothes, you have to wash your clothes. But the actual liquid is not considered impure. Okay? If it's confusing, just treat all of them as impure. That's fine. Okay? Treat all of them as impure. Why is it not considered impure? Because human beings are born from it. Yeah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has honored us. Yeah? Honored human being, honored creature has born out of this. This gives life. Yeah? So it's not considered as impure as such. Okay? You had a question. Actually, before that, page 154, everything clear? Yeah, so I've summarized page 154 in a few points. Yes. Now skip all the way to page 163. And the pages in between, you can read yourself, inshallah ta'ala. Yeah, any question? Quickly.
What's the difference between ghusl and wudu?
What's the difference between a ghusl and wudu? Very good question. Actually, we're going to be talking about ghusl in a bit. In fact, we're going to be talking about ghusl now. Okay? What is ghusl? Ghusl has 2 fard. Ghusl has 2 fard. What are they, Rohan?
Is making the intention and making sure your whole body is wet.
That's it. 2 fard. Very simple. Intention, because in our fiqh, in the Shafi fiqh, we are big on intention, and then making sure water reaches everywhere. And when I say everywhere, everywhere. And if one tiny spot on your skin, the length of or the width of your hair, single hair, remains unwet or dry, then your ghusl is invalid. Yeah? That's how strict the matter is. Now, do you understand the difference between ghusl and wudu?
So what if you like leave a tiny bit by accident?
By accident, if you don't know about it, that's a different thing. But now that you know, you must take precaution to make sure that as you're doing your wudu, especially on a dry day, you know, your arms, you have wet, dry patches, and sometimes even water reaches, it doesn't really reach everywhere. So you need to make sure that you're rubbing your body properly. Don't just pour water over your body, but you have to rub your body properly as well, so that water has actually wet your body parts. Do you understand that? Okay. So these are the 2 fard of ghusl. Wudu is, what is the purpose of wudu and ghusl? Who said that? Yeah. What kind of purification is this? Ritual purification, right? So somebody who takes a nice bath in the bathtub with lush balm and everything, okay, they're very pure as well, but they have not attained the purity that you need to pray. or do your Quran reading. That can only be done by making sure water reaches everywhere, coupled with intention. Ghusl becomes fard, as I mentioned, with certain circumstances. Wudu is fard for ritual acts of worship, okay? But when you have those instances that makes ghusl fard, even if you did the best wudu, you wouldn't be able to touch the Quran. Neither can you read salah. Yeah, so that's the difference between wudu and ghusl. Both of them attain the purpose of purification. One is, as long as you have wudu, you can do certain things, but you cannot do those things if ghusl becomes fard on you. Okay, ghusl does not only have fard actions, it has sunnah as well. What's the difference between fard and sunnah?
Obligatory and recommended.
Also, for something to be valid, you must do for a whole action. As in, let's say this is ghusl. This whole thing is called ghusl. For this whole thing to be valid, you need to have at least two things. Okay, what are those two things? And body ratio. Okay, then it's valid. But is it complete? Is it 100%? No. You know how when you have exam, you need to get at least, let's say 50% or 60%, right? So it's a bit like that. Once you have fulfilled those two points, yeah, you're beyond 50%, but you have not quite got to 100% or 80%. For that, you need to fulfill the sunnahs. What are they? Begin with Bismillah. If you're in the toilet, don't be shouting out loud, Bismillah, because of course you have your toilet basin there as well, right? Do it in your mind. Wash your hands. We talked about it. What's the hikmah, wisdom behind washing hands first? Because
You can wash the rest of your body
with your hands, and if your hands are dirty, then the dirt, or if your hands impure, it's got impurity. Perhaps you're washing your clothes, they had some semen, and the semen is in your hand. Now you rub your body with that hand, right? The impurity is all over the place. You don't want that, right? Wash the private parts and remove any impurities from the body. That is so important, so important. Because look, you start your bathing or shower or ghusl, whatever you call it, from the top down, but then when you reach your private part, you haven't quite washed the impurity. Now again, what's happened? Your hand is dirty, and there's chances of the impurity reaching the rest of the body parts, right? And also, what did we say? That try not to touch your private part while you're taking your ghusl. So the ghusl hasn't quite started. Once you have washed your private part properly, now your ghusl starts, pretty much. Does that make sense? Yeah? You can touch the private part. Don't worry about that. It's not a problem while you're doing ghusl. There are stricter opinions and there are not so stricter opinions. Okay, so you can touch your private part, but make sure that you wash your private part to the point that you don't have any impurity on them. Yeah, and then wash your hand. Then Bismillah, wash your hand, and then start. Make wudu. And what did we say? That leave that step, do wudu right at the end after you have done your ghusl. Pass water over your head thrice and run your fingers through your hair. So you start off with the head, with the hair, right? How do you pass water 3 times? You don't just stand there and say 1, 2, 3. No. You wash it, that's it. Consider it once, wash it again, consider it twice, wash it again, consider it 3 times. But making sure that your scalp, the base of your hair is wet, that every hair is also wet. Otherwise, problem. Okay? And to make sure that the hair is wet, the scalp is wet, you run your finger, perhaps massage your scalp a little bit, massage your head a little bit. Wash the right side of the body. We all know that, right? What happens if you started off with the left hand side? Nothing happens. But it's sunnah to start off with the right side. It's also sunnah to start off with the top part, not the bottom part. You could have started by washing your right leg, but you want to do it with your right shoulder, right side of the body, and then left side, and then slowly go down. Yeah? Does that make sense? Okay. Rub the body. We talked about it. To ensure water reaches all the joints and hard to reach areas. When does ghusl become fard? When semen leaves the body part? After giving birth for a mother, as soon as they have given birth. Okay? When birth takes place, when a child is born, two things happen. You have the baby coming out, or babies, yeah, for twins or triplets, and you have lots of blood coming out. Yeah? The baby comes out and lots of blood comes out. And few other things, for example, placenta and whatnot comes out, okay? Right. It may sound all, but all I want you to get at is this. As soon as a baby comes out, for a mother, that's it. They have to take, not shower, not bath, but ghusl. Okay, what happens after the baby has come out? Lots of blood comes out. And if this blood keeps coming out, then she's in this state, right? After the birth of a baby, the lady's bleeding doesn't stop. Now the baby has been there for almost a year, right? A lot comes out over the next 15 days, up to 60 days, they say, right? When that happens, you cannot pray, okay? But what if the blood stops after a few days?
Do ghusl.
Do ghusl and then carry on with your ritual worship. Is that clear? Why am I teaching you about this? Although we said we're not going to cover the maturity element of ladies, because one day your wife will need that advice. Yeah? And you will know that you need to teach them, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, so that's called nifas, post-natal bleeding. Natal means anything to do with childbirth. Yeah? After childbirth, the bleeding that takes place. After menstruation. So just like men, ladies go through body changes. And one of the body changes that they have is, on a monthly basis, they bleed. Okay? When that happens, you know what that means in ladies? What does that mean, Isha? That means they have a machine that started in their body. The machine or the device of creating, producing human beings, babies. That's the indication. Yeah? You know, human beings are born. It's not so easy for the mothers or the ladies. They have to bear this. And it doesn't come just with blood. That would have been the easiest thing. It comes with a lot of pain. So we should start appreciating our sisters, should start appreciating our mothers. That even before you came, for that system, for them to forbear that system, bodily system, on a monthly basis, for some people 3 days, those who are lucky. For some people 7 days, sometimes they have irregular 2 weeks of bleeding and pain. Paracetamol after paracetamol. It's not easy. And when that happens, they cannot pray, neither can they fast. So if you see your sisters take off and they're locking themselves in their room during Ramadan, don't be like, hey, why are you not fasting? Take it easy. She's probably going through some difficult times. Yeah? Give her space. Okay? But she needs to make her fasting later on up. Okay? Right, so that's called menstruation. Number 5, by having intercourse, okay. We talked about ghusl being fard when semen comes out or when wet dream happens. And what other, did we say something else? No, those were the two, right? But what if a man has a relationship with a lady, but there's no semen coming out? You still have to take ghusl. Okay, you still have to take ghusl. When somebody dies, ghusl becomes fard on that person. But that's the only time when the person does not carry out the ghusl on himself, rather other people gives him ghusl. And those people who are giving him ghusl, it becomes sunnah on them to do ghusl for themselves. So if there's a deceased here, I give him ghusl because ghusl is fard on this person who has just passed away. It's sunnah for me to take a shower, to ghusl, to freshen myself up. Yeah? I don't have to, but I should really. Yeah? Is that clear? Okay. The following are not permissible for those in need of fard ghusl. We've already spoken about it. When you need to have a ghusl, it's fard, you cannot do any of the ritual acts. Performing salah. Okay, so look, it's even so strict to enter or remain in the masjid. Yeah? To enter or remain in the masjid. If you must, you may, but try and make it quick. To make tawaf, of course you cannot make tawaf. To touch or recite the Quran, or even Hajj, you could not do any of those if you're in a ritual state of janaba. Oh, by the way, what is that state called? Janabah. What is it called? Janabah. When you are in need of fard ghusl. You're in janabah. Okay. There was something else I wanted to ask. Yes. You're in a state of janabah, okay? Okay, you're in a state of janabah. Oh, not you. Let's say you. Okay. You wake up. It's not Fajr time yet. 3 o'clock you get awake. You had a wet dream. You're in a state of janabah. Okay? Right. You want to go to the bathroom and you realize bathroom is occupied. Or even let's say 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. You have people in the house who take shower first thing in the morning. Bathroom is occupied. You, my friend, have a habit of engaging in morning adhkar. What is adhkar? Dhikr, right? La ilaha illallah, Allah, 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 Allah. Okay? But you're in a state of janabah. So you think, okay, why don't I do that while that person from the toilet comes out? Could you potentially do that?
Yes.
No? No? Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah? Awaka? Yeah? Isa? Abdullah? Don't know? Yes, you could. There's nothing wrong with remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah? The only place where you should not actively engage in remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a haram, is toilet. Pretty much. But other than that, you can do dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
If you're in the toilet, then you might as well already do ghusl then.
No, I'm saying dhikr is not allowed. No sort of ritual, no sort of worship is allowed in the toilet. Yeah? Okay. Right. 2 more pages. Less than 5 minutes. When ghusl becomes sunnah? Ghusl becomes sunnah on Jummah day. Yeah? No problem. Okay, what happens if you come into Jummah Salah without ghusl?
It's okay.
No problem. Okay, you will smell. Perhaps a little bit, right? So you don't want to smell, you want to smell fresh. That's why you want to take shower or ghusl. Both the Eid. What happens if the Imam is late, wakes up late, and he has to lead the Eid Salah, but he doesn't have time to take shower or ghusl? No problem. Yeah. For the person who gave ghusl to the deceased, I just spoke about that. For Salatul Kusuf, so eclipse prayer, it's sunnah to do ghusl. For the different actions of Hajj, i.e., before adorning the ihram, before putting the ihram on, we talked about it when we talked about tawaf and Hajj, that one of the sunnah acts is that what? Take a ghusl, applying perfume, clipping your nails, etc. If you did not do that, that's not a problem. Even entering Makkah, for example, and going to Arafah, it's recommended to take a ghusl. Upon regaining consciousness, yes. If somebody passes out, then your wudu breaks. Your wudu breaks even if you momentarily pass out for whatever reason. Maybe you have, what do they call it? Fits. Some people, they pass out. Yeah, if you have fits, epilepsy, yes, epileptical fits, etc. So they would have to renew their wudu. Okay. When accepting Islam, when somebody becomes Muslim, they're assumed to be not dirty as such, but ritually impure. So they need to take a ghusl. Some miscellaneous points regarding ghusl. If an area equal to the thickness of a hair remains dry, there you go, Ubaid, then ghusl will not be complete. Right? So don't be taking ghusl with a shower cap on. Okay? It is permissible but somewhat disliked to cut one's nails and to remove hair from the private area whilst in a state of impurity. Why? Because when you're in a state of impurity, perhaps semen has exited your private part, perhaps the semen has landed around the private part, and now you're trimming your private area or clipping your nails. Everything's going everywhere now. Yeah? Okay. It's a sunnah to make khilal of the hair. What is khilal? This is khilal. This is khilal. Oh, this is khilal. When you comb your beard or your hair with your finger. Okay, it is sunnah to do that when you are taking ghusl. Of which parts, which things? Hair, beard, fingers as well. Doing this, because otherwise water may not reach. Alright, few minutes inshallah, we'll call it a day. I know you're tired. It is makruh, it is disliked to waste water. Just because you're taking ghusl doesn't mean you can use 300 liters. You'd be surprised. On average, a human being in England uses 120 liters of water. Go back home, they fill up a big bucket, perhaps 10 liters, and they use it to do ghusl. Ghusl doesn't mean you have to dip yourself in water. Ghusl means you have to wet your body all throughout. That could be just by taking water and rubbing your full body like this. In fact, that's how the Arabs used to do ghusl back then. Does that make sense? Because water is scarce. Okay, if a person misses washing a body part during ghusl, what happens then? Do they have to repeat the whole ghusl from top down? Just that part that's missing, they have to wash that as soon as they remember it. That's it. For example, if a person forgets to wash their ears during ghusl and remembers once bathing is complete, they'll only have to wash their ears thereafter, even if they dried their entire body. Let's quickly finish the page if that's okay. If there is paint or any other substance which prevents water reaching the skin, then it will be necessary to remove that substance in order for ghusl to be complete. If you don't understand, say you don't understand. Understood?
Yeah.
Cool. One should avoid making ghusl in small amounts of stored water like a bathtub. So you step into a bathtub, take ghusl. That ghusl is fard ghusl. The bathtub can only hold 200 liters of water. Now you clean your private part. That has impurity. What happens to all the water that's stored in the bathtub now? Impure. Now you run it all over your body, you're full impure. Yeah? So that's why don't run the bathtub. If you're planning to have a ghusl by having a bath, first wash your private parts properly, wash all the impurity off, then run the bathtub. Perhaps cover yourself with a towel, wait there until the bath fills up, then you take a dip. Does that make sense? Yeah? When semen comes out, it is better to urinate before doing ghusl to ensure no semen is left. Okay, so a man has a relationship with a lady. Semen comes out. Okay, now he steps straight into the bathtub, takes a ghusl. Okay, chances are the private part may still have some semen left. So what he should do is sit down in the toilet, do your toilet, do your number one, wait for a little bit, perhaps move the private part a little bit to make sure that no traces of semen is left behind. Right? So urinate, then because now you have taken the precaution, then get into the bath, wash yourself, again private part, wash your hands properly, and then start your ghusl. When having ghusl in public place, why? Back home, it happens sometimes, right? Perhaps you are in this wide open space, you don't have any private shower, right? So, and you need to take bath, because you need to take bath, that's it, it's fard. Right? How do you do that? You don't just take your clothes off in front of everybody. You still need to make sure that your aura, a man's aura is covered. Yeah? Excellent. Two intentions can be combined during one ghusl. So you're taking a ghusl because ghusl is fard on you, but also if it happens on a Friday, and Friday ghusl is sunnah, so you can make two intentions and you get, why do you want to do that? Because good deeds, ajr. Okay? When ghusl is performed, wudu is also done. Don't worry about that. And with that, we finish today. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. A lot we have covered. Please, can I request you guys to review them at home over the holiday?